Hello, everyone. This is Ed Brenegar, and welcome to the Eddie Network podcast. My guest today is Tony Hartle, a owner-operator of a collection of Crunch fitness centers in Texas and Oklahoma. I got to know Tony several years ago as we both lived in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and we talked many times about what he was doing, what I was doing, found that we had a lot of similarities in our look upon life and where we saw life going. And I was curious as he was at this point beginning the process of taking on the establishment of these Crunch fitness centers back in his home state of Texas and in Oklahoma. And so we talk about this and we talk about the effect that of this has on local communities and how business people can have a very beneficial effect there. So I welcome him here and I thank him for joining us, and I thank you for being here. Please subscribe and like and comment on what you find both at YouTube and also on the Substack version of this podcast. I'm glad you're with us, Tony. This is going to be fun to talk with you. I enjoy getting to know you the few years we were together there in Jackson and watching you interact with people and watching you talk about the things that you were doing. I was very impressed with not just how you thought, but also the vision you had and the sense of interest that you had in making a difference in the world, and that this was not just a way to have a business. This was something bigger than that. So describe to us what Crunch Fitness is and how it is this dream that you had or this idea that you had that you have implemented over the last 6 years.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. So Crunch Fitness has more than 400 locations throughout the world. So I didn't create the brand itself like my former company. Crunch Fitness is like McDonald's, right? And I'm an area developer, and so I have 71 rights right now to build those out across several states. And currently, we have 8 fitness centers that are open, and we have 4 gyms under construction, 2 in Oklahoma and 2 in Texas right now. And so I've always had a passion and actually even experience in the fitness industry back from my undergrad days. It wasn't the path that I thought I was going to take, but it was the path I ended up on once I graduated from college, taking a marketing job. And that led to me being in the fitness industry for a number of years before I started my own company.
That's great. So tell me about what happens at a Crunch Fitness Center, and then tell me about the people that come there and what they're eating.
So Crunch Fitness, the term we use is HVLP, high value, low price. It doesn't mean cheap, it means high value. And so we'll build anywhere from a 30 to 50,000 square foot box. And for your listeners out there, that's the size of a neighborhood Walmart, very big facilities. And we'll put 100 pieces of cardio. So if you go to your local gym, there might be 10 or 14 treadmills. We'll have 50 treadmills, right? Wow. And we'll have group fitness, and we'll have 70 classes a week, and we'll have spin, we'll have hot yoga, we have free weights, and we have daycare. And the gyms are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I think, probably what makes us different or unique, and what I feel is special, is if you go from gym to gym, really we all buy from the same manufacturers, right? We all have the same type of equipment. We might have a different number of pieces of equipment, and our price on average is around $25 a month, anywhere from $10 to $30. So it's very affordable, right? And unlike the $50 to $100 gym. So this is really fitness for everybody and everyone. But there's a culture that we have that makes us very unique, where it's no judgments, right? And so there's no certain size or look or type of person that belongs here. Really, everyone belongs here. And so we make it very unintimidating. And we do that very uniquely through our managing partner model. That's probably, we're the first to bring this to the fitness industry. And when you and I met, I had been retired for about 10 years. I sold my company in 2008 and really thought I was going to stay retired. And had this yearning to still launch another company. And I did that with the winery in Argentina, and I wrote the book that I wanted to write. But I always thought that Chick-fil-A had gotten many things right. And one of the things that I loved about Chick-fil-A is they had a managing partner model. And that means the actual manager that runs that business has a percentage of the bottom line. And I had the fortunate opportunity to connect with the Cathy family while I had my former company, and had talked to the Cathys about this concept about, really share and really getting people to have skin in the game and feel like they're a part of something. And so we weren't looking for managers. We were really looking for people that were talented. And that makes us a little bit different because we don't have a general manager. We have a managing partner. They actually have a percentage of the bottom line of the gym. So the success of that business, not only for myself, but that individual, we sort of pay our rent and pay for our children to go to school and pay our bills based on the success of that gym. So we're very much aligned that not only do we want to hire the right people, but we want to create the right type of member experience, if you will. So we're not just trying to put people through the door. That's why we're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no contracts. We have so much equipment. It's all about, let's remove the barriers. Working out is hard enough, right? It's tough to get fired up to go to the gym. And so what we want to do is create an environment that's entertaining, fun, and positively reinforcing. And we want to take away barriers for people to come in, like hours. So you don't have to think about, well, when are they open? They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And well, I don't know if I can afford it. Well, it's $10 to $30 a month. And I don't want to sign a contract. I'm not sure how long. Well, there's no contract. And so once you take away all those barriers, you really become an access model. And when you really hire the right people from a cultural standpoint, you have the right type of experience, which I think, Starbucks did a really good job early on. We try to create the right type of experience when people, and really the staff creates that, Ed.
So what do you look for in the staff people that come work for you?
And, so an average fitness facility that we have will have about 60 employees. And so the center of our universe is really, for me, is that managing partner, right? And so that managing partner, I think about a few things. First off, we start with character. Is this somebody that, we believe in, right? And we can talk about ways to test that. But we also look for someone that's entrepreneurial, that's critical in this business. We need someone that's a self-starter, someone that knows how to hire people, develop people, and inspire people. And then we also have to have someone that has drive, right? Because it's a 24-hour business, 7 days a week. It's not a 9 to 5 job, right? Because there's people working out all the time. And unfortunately, and it doesn't happen often, sometimes you have situations where an employee at midnight is supposed to show up, and you can't say, well, that's your job. If you're the managing partner, you better have it covered or it is your job. And so we need people that have drive. And I look for stamina when I think about drive. Are they available? I was recently asked, what's the number one characteristic I look for in an entrepreneur? One of the characteristics of being really successful as well as an entrepreneur. And I said, number one is availability. You have to be, if you're going to be a good entrepreneur, you have to be available. And even though, I'll be turning 55 here, and I've been doing this a long time. I turned 55 this Saturday. I've run companies for over 30 years, and I'm still as driven and fired up about the game of business as I ever had, but I'm available, right? And so I'm available for my people. That allows me to have, trust is really, it's the byproduct of a couple things. Number one is personal connection. Got to spend time with our people. Number two is it's character, right? It's ethical, doing what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it. And then the third is trust comes from competency. Like, do you know what you're doing? And so we look for people that can build trust. They're entrepreneurial. They have drive, right? So they got that high character. So that's really kind of, and then we try to test for that in different ways. We use psychometrics and we use multiple interviews and things like that. But at the end of the day, we're looking for people that have had probably not a lot of jobs in their career, right? In business. This is my third job. And like I just said, I'm turning 55. I've only had 3 jobs. This is my third one in my life. And so, it's a little Midwestern probably and old school, but I do find that people that can stick to things over a long period of time, we end up getting lucky. And persistence equals a little bit of success if you keep growing as well.
I think what you're describing is what I've identified through my coaching and consulting work is the person, I'm talking about your managing partners, the person who knows how to run their business, but doesn't know how to lead their business.
That's right.
And so they're running it because they just know how they're following the numbers and that sort of thing. And and they're constantly having turnover in staff because they haven't created an atmosphere where people want to stay, because they don't feel any opportunity there. They don't feel that they can advance there. And so when they feel like when that person changes from being just a runner to being a leader, then it transforms everything. And I think what I find is that people see themselves separating from the herd and becoming much more the stallion at the head of the herd, leading it forward. So with that kind of image in mind, how do the businesses that you have created there with Crunch Fitness in all these places, how are they having an effect upon the business climate in those communities? If you can
Yeah.
speak to that.
So when we end up leasing a space from 30 to 50,000 square feet, uh, the economic impact is significant. So not only is it the $4 to $5 million that we invest in that physical plant, right? Because
Right.
we're hiring all the different trades from HVAC to drywall, right, to repaving the parking lots to marketing. Uh, but you're talking about also the adjacent businesses. So on an average day, we'll see somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 to 2,000 workouts. So that means we'll see about 45,000 people per month per gym. And so those people don't just come to us. They get their dry cleaning done. They go have lunch, right? They shop. And so we become a destination for people. They walk in feeling one way. And one thing we that we measure, and we do it with we measure we have this philosophy. We say welcome them home, send them to awesome, and then see you tomorrow. And while you might physically not be able to see the transformation that took place in one workout, what we do want to do is create people to create an environment where people feel better leaving. And those people, they end up generally living within about 5 to 8 mile radius. And so they're shopping, they're living in that area. And not to mention the 60 to 70 jobs that we create. And these are good paying jobs too. I mean, our managing partners all make on average over $100,000 a year, and some of them much, much more. And so these are good paying jobs in these markets. So these people are, we're moving them, they're buying houses, people are getting relocated, they're leasing apartments, and I think really who we also affect, and I've seen this happen with our first gym that we leased in Killeen, Texas. It was an old Kmart, and Cons and myself came together and we split it up, and the Dollar Tree went on the end. And this was an area that was drug ridden, looked like it was crime infested, but the police told us if we went there, they would give us patrol. It was right off the highway. We just had to light it up. My business was going to be 24 hours a day, so I was a little skeptical at first. But we took this old abandoned Kmart and we transformed that shopping center. And what we've seen in the 4 years, that whole corner's transformed. There's at least 10 new businesses that have went in adjacent to that property. Land that was vacant got bought. Someone built a QSR, quick service restaurant. Another hotel went up down the road, and it's all of a sudden it changed. And you see that because there's so much economic magnetism to that area. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if somebody told me there was 1 million visitors in that just little area every month right now, because I know just with us alone, it's around 45,000 with our center.
So it sounds like your fitness center is what they call a third place. You know what?
That's right. It's not work. It's not home. That's right. It's not work. It's not home. It's a third place. It's a place that they can go and get away. We like to make it where there's no titles or hierarchy, right? You go there and it's a place that you go and you feel better. And that's what really fitness has become. I think it's replaced, it's at least for our generation. I don't hear many people saying, I'm going to go meet you at the bar, but I do hear people say, I'll go meet you at the gym. We'll get a workout and we'll go over whatever we have going on. And so I think it's a positive third place as well.
Do any of your centers have smoothie stations or coffee stations in it?
We don't, but there's a lot of where our centers are. Starbucks is in the area as well. There's nutrition stores in the area. We really leave those businesses, those people,
Yeah.
because they're experts and we're dabblers, and we're really good at providing really, we're in the business of, we provide a fitness service, don't get me wrong, but we're out really not in the fitness business servicing people. We're in the people business, providing transformation. And we leave those other businesses to other people that can do it much better. But when it comes to the people business and transforming lives, that's what we focus on.
So this is you're using a fitness center as a context for a much larger philosophy
That's
about
right.
people and about work and about businesses and about community. So do you see how this can be translated into other kinds of businesses?
Well, I mean, for many people, it might be their religion, right? And this is maybe their or an artist, it might be their canvas, right? For
Right.
me, this is my medium, right? And I get to do it through hiring, marketing, building these physical plants. I think anyone could do this. I mean, I'm fortunate. I have over 70,000 members, right? I have a
Right.
massive staff. So I have the opportunity to really influence people's lives by being a great role model for my employees, right? Number one, by inspiring and transforming the lives of my employees, and they become a magnifier, because the reality is I'm not going to go see all these people working out and I'm not touching them. I run the company, right? And even though I'm in the field often and I meet the members all the time, um, who I have to really focus on is making sure that my team members, that they're happy and they understand the mission, and we've hired the right people and we've trained the right people and equipped the people and we've inspired the people to keep coming back and doing good work, and we know somehow that'll translate to the member, right? And so I think anyone with that has an audience, we have an audience, and it allows us, for me, one of the things that I was I wouldn't have thought happened, but did happen. I was so excited to retire at 40. I mean, couldn't believe it happened. I sold my company in the middle of the Great Recession. When the market was falling apart in 2008, in November of all things, that's when I
Oh,
sold my company, full cash, no earnout, and it was a strategic acquisition, and thought I was done. And I retired for 10 years from 40 to 50. And a couple things took place. One was my son headed off to college at USC in LA. I raised him in Jackson Hole, so we went to Jackson Hole High. But I think what happened, at least for me, was when you spend all your time, like I was, and asking yourself if you're happy, and if you ask yourself if you're happy every day, you're not going to be happy. You're going to think, well, if I did this, I'd be happier. Or, I lived in Argentina. If I wrote that book, if I got my master's in wine, if I'm a sub-3 marathoner, and I did all those things and got my pilot's license and learned how to blow glass. And I thought, it's almost borders on narcissism, because you're just asking yourself all the time if you're happy. But if you're busy, you're not going to ask yourself those questions when you're busy. And so what I missed working with people. I missed the opportunity to change people's lives, and I missed the opportunity to really see people get from here to there, and there being wherever there was, right. If they could get here, I'd always say, if you can get here, I can get you there. You got to do the work, right? I'll guide you, but if you can get here, I'll get you there. And so that's what this business gives me an opportunity to do.
I think I think it's fantastic, and to think about right now, you have about 70,000 people who can thank you for the transformation that you have given them the access to. I think that's what I heard you say. You're providing an access to an environment where they can come in, they can take their own initiative to transform their lives, transform their bodies, transform their spirit, and you're just providing that opportunity for them with support, but also the physical facility for that to happen. And
Mm-hmm.
you see, that's when you described some of this to me before, that's what I was hearing from you, um, that this is something which is transferable to other fields of business or other kinds of organizations where the people who own and operate a company say, well, we're going to create an environment where we're going to be able to transform people's lives. And we can't force them to be transformed, but we can provide them the opportunity, and we're going to provide them the support for that to happen.
That's right. There's an invitation here, right? We're looking for a certain type of person that, right, they believe in, physical fitness, they believe in the power of physical fitness, but there's an invitation, then that's up to them what they do, right? And so what we want to do is we also want to encourage them that if they come here, what their work means to them. And I think that's an opportunity, something I learned when I'd ran a business before. I thought, boy, there's such an opportunity here to let people know what the impact is of their work. And so we try to, whether so many lives changed, so much weight loss, but really so many people from here to there. We had this gal, Stephanie Butler. She started with us a little over 3 years ago, and she worked in daycare. And then she worked from daycare, and she was a stay-at-home mom. And then she moved to the member service role at the front desk. Then she moved to AGM, and now she's a managing partner of our gym in San Angelo. 3 years later, fantastic. She got from here to there to there, and now she's a managing partner. And those are the kind of examples that I think inspire other people.
So also what I'm hearing you say is that the role of the CEO or the owner, the general manager of a business has a lot to do with the facilitation of other people's leadership,
Yes.
and it's not that you're the leader and you tell everybody what to do. It's really that you're providing them the opportunity to learn how to lead, and you're facilitating that by providing the right environment for that to happen. I think that's important for people to understand that this is a role that leaders like yourself, Tony, have in our world today, and this is important for them to kind of grasp hold of this so that their businesses can model what you're doing. And I think would be a very advantageous thing for them to do.
Yeah, and one thing that I learned a long time ago is if you chase the vision, right? If you chase the vision and not the money will end up following you. You've got to chase the vision. And if you're chasing the money, you're going to get it wrong. And so I always see my role in business as the CEO. It's about unleashing the power of people. It's about unleashing what's there that already resides in someone. My job is about unleashing the power within people. And I have to be a catalyst for doing that energetically, philosophically, by example. That's really the role of a leader. So, I have to know finance, I have to know operations, I have to know real estate, I have to know all these things. But really, at the end of the day, my role is about unleashing the possibilities in people, and just being relentlessly on purpose with that.
Well, I think that's fantastic, and I think for the people who are watching, it encourages them and helps them realize that they can do this as well. And I think that's an important thing to do. And so you wrote a book. Give us a little taste of what your book was about and
Yeah,
how we could
so I
find.
wrote a book called Selling Sunshine, right? And it's about the 75 tools and tactics to become a wildly successful entrepreneur. And what I did is I wrote really kind of the history from my background to building a company to eventually selling the business. And what I think the business will share with anyone that takes the time to really explore it is there's not really a specific skill set you need to learn. You just have to be relentless and persistent. And luck, it's cliche, but luck favors the persistent. And so if you can persist and you can stay diligent and you can do that, by the way, for 10 hours every day, and you can do that 7 days a week, well, you end up getting lucky. A couple things fall in your favor. And so what the book really talks about is those characteristics, those approaches to business, that if people are wanting to become wildly successful in business, then it gives people a narrative of potentially how to do it.
That's great. Well, Tony, I'm grateful for you to be on here today and to talk about this. I think it's a fantastic thing that you've done. I'm impressed that you would start over, at 50 on something as huge as, a chain of fitness centers. I think you said 71. That's your goal.
That's my goal. That's right. And really the goal is more than 100 now. I'm lucky. I have a very wise mentor. He's in his 80s. And one of the questions he asked me a while back is, and he has a table in his office and it has pictures and names. And he's like, you know what that was? Those are all people that have sold and become millionaires with me in businesses that I've created. How many millionaires have you created? And that always stuck with me, that I'd like to take other people through the finish line with me. And I think once after you accomplish making yourself successful, it's sort of like the transformation from manager to leader, right? Most of your life is focused on how do I get better, but the real big pivot happens in leadership is when you say, how do I help other people get better, right? And I think as an entrepreneur, that was the stage that I'm at now.
That's fantastic. Well, in the show notes, we'll put the information on how to find you in your company and find the fitness centers in maybe their local communities. And are any of these fitness centers overseas in other?
No. Well, there are some overseas. They're not mine.
But
they're in New Zealand. They're in some other places in Canada.
You can.
But we're just in Texas and Oklahoma.
But you can find Crunch Fitness elsewhere.
That is right.
So,
that's right.
So go look for it, because you're going to find a very similar mindset as to what Tony is sharing with us today. Hey, it's great to see you. Wish you well in the future of this wonderful endeavor and all that you're going. I know you have a young son now. Is that right?
That's right. I've done it again. So I've got a 22-year-old as a junior at USC, and I have a 15-month-year-old. So I'm all about the startup.
Congratulations. Well, I wish you well. And I'll look forward to seeing you again, hopefully in Jackson in the near future.
Yeah, I'd like to.
I'm glad to have had Tony Hartle today as my guest. Tony represents what I see as one of the best ways of looking at yourself as a business owner, as a business person, as a business leader, as a community leader, that you see that your influence is not simply of running a business, but actually of leading a business. And I think if you can wrap your mind around that idea, that you can become someone who is making a difference in your local community by the work that you do, whether you're an accountant, whether you are a mail delivery person, whether you run a coffee shop, whatever you do, you can take this same kind of passion, the same kind of mindset of how you're going to have an impact and influence people in your local community. Local communities are where the action is going to be in the future. And so if you wrap your mind around that idea, that I'm going to commit myself to being a person of impact right here where I live, I think you will find that your life will be fulfilled. It'll make a difference, and you will find people will appreciate what you bring to your community. So I thank you for watching. Subscribe and click the like button, and more importantly, comment. Give us your thoughts, not just a like, but say, this is what I liked about what I heard. This is what I want to do as a result of what I've heard today. When you write something in a comment, you're inviting the author, whether it's me or the guest on the podcast, to respond to you. And in doing so, you create a line of communication which is unique and new, and you are creating a closure, a bridging of your network that didn't happen before. So like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.